King George winner Banbridge heads up Joseph O'Brien's team for the 2025 Cheltenham Festival. He's also got Solness for the champion chase, home by the Lee, one of the big players in the stairs hurdle picture, and a strong supporting cast to boot. So for a trainer who's supposedly concentrating more and more on the flat these days, the team that he's assembled for the 2025 Cheltenham Festival is as strong a team as he's ever had for Cheltenham Week. For a trainer who's supposedly concentrating on the flat more these days, Joseph, the strength and depth that you have in your National Hunt horses, like it's a really, really strong team.
Yeah, it is a strong team. I suppose we'll be probably have as many horses running in Cheltenham for the week as what we have National Hunt horses left at home. But we're very lucky that the higher rated horses that we've had for the last number of seasons are all still here and performing right up to scratch, and that as they come to the end of their careers, we'll probably be a bit lighter at the festivals, but we'll really enjoy the season anyhow.
It looks like you're going to have at least one runner every day during Cheltenham. Like, is it a busy week? Is it a week that you can enjoy when you go over there?
Any racing fan or racing enthusiast would dream of being in Cheltenham for the week, and we're no different, and we're lucky to have some participation as well as races that we're not participating in that are going to be fantastic races, like the Champion Hurdle for example this year looks like it's going to be a special race. So we're just looking forward to being there for the week and for enjoying the racing, and we'd love to get a winner if we could.
I want to talk about Banbridge for a second. He's the Martin Pipe Hurdle winner. Did you think then at the time that Banbridge had the potential to morph into the horse that he's become?
His first run for us was a bit disappointing, but he then gradually started to progress, and I remember Ronnie saying to me that whatever he did hurling, that they were sure he was going to be better when he jumped fences, and even though he ran in 3 points and didn't win one, he was always a very natural jumper, and he ended up being a very nice novice hurler, like you say, winning the Martin Pipe, but then he came back chasing the following season and he took his form to a new level.
And the Martin Pipe Hurdle, like, it's a handicap, but it's been a springboard for lots of top class chasers of the future. Like, what is it about the race, or do you think there's anything about it?
It really is a springboard for nice horses to progress into their chasing careers, but I just think the timing of it in the spring, a novice hurler that maybe things haven't gone absolutely right for him, and in the winter time gets a bit of nice ground and is getting an opportunity to show some of the talent that they have. So Banbridge had actually had plenty of runs before the Martin Pipe. He had come right through the summer and then ended up winning the Martin Pipe, and he went to Aintree a couple of weeks later and things didn't go well for him, but it was a big ask to come back that soon, but he then obviously had his holidays and went chasing after that and came back, and he won the nice novice in Cheltenham and went on from there.
You dropped him down in trip for the Arkle trial at Cheltenham at the November meeting, as you say, but obviously you thought that he had pace as well.
He's not the most extravagant jumper in the world to watch, but touch wood, he was very quick from A to B, and his jumping in a way made him quicker, and that allowed us to come back to 2 miles. And he put up a very good performance that day at the November meeting in Cheltenham, and really we went there looking for ground as much as anything, because it's always been evident that he's at his best on a nicer surface, and he came back and was good in Aintree, and I have to say he's been a fantastic horse really, and he's very seldom had any off days.
And he had the pace as well to win the champion chase at Punchestown. He probably needed every yard of the trip to just get Captain Guinness, but to win a champion chase at Punchestown on kind of spring ground, obviously that's a pacey horse who can do that.
But yeah, that just shows the pace that he has, and then he came back this year, and even the season it even took his form to a new level again in Kempton.
The King George was obviously a massive race to win, but that had been on your radar and on Ronnie Bartlett's radar for a little while, I think. Why was that, like, to step up to 3 miles then for a horse who had the pace to win a 2-mile champion chase at Punchestown?
Yeah, and in fact, even in the parade ring after the race in Punchestown, Ronnie said that we're aiming for the King George, and I think he might have had a chat with AP who was keen to say that he thought he could be a King George horse as well. He got a fantastic ride from Paul Townend on the day, and whatever way you look at it, it was a great performance from the horse and the career best.
Of course, Ile France had a big break on the field from a long way out. Like, were you kind of just hoping and thinking that he was going to get there.
There was very little anyone could do about the lead that LA Francais had got, and turning into the straight, I thought watching the race that it was going to be tough to make up the ground, but the further into the straight they got, the more it looked like we were going to at least give him a run for his money. And I think he made a mistake at maybe the second last or the last, and that really that really put Banbridge into the mix. I've watched the King George every year for as long as I can remember. I was actually terribly excited to even just to be getting on the plane to go to Kempton for the day to have a runner in the race, and but we did feel like we were in the mix.
I suppose it's a measure of his versatility that he's entered in the champion chase, the Ryanair chase, and the Gold Cup as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and to be quite honest, you could make a good case for running him in any of the three races. So he is. It's a measure of his versatility, but it's also a measure of the class of a horse that he is, because like I'm sure Galopin Deschamps or any of a lot of those top class 3 mile chasers, you can drop them down in distance as well, and they can be effective. So I think it's a measure of the class and versatility of the horse.
And it's an extra 2.5 furlongs, of course, in the Gold Cup.
I'm quite hopeful that the distance would be fine for him. He got to the line very well in Kempton, and I'd be more worried about the conditions underfoot than the extra few furlongs.
Yeah, and ground conditions they are important.
Yeah, they're important to him. He doesn't have to have a quick ground, but we'd love to have good to soft ground. That I think everyone would love to have good to soft ground for the week, but for Banbridge in particular, it'd be lovely if we had good to soft ground.
We can talk about Solness for a second. Like, he's just been a revelation this season. When he won at Christmas at Leopardstown, people kind of thought it's just one of those things that happens. But then he did it again the last time at the Dublin Racing Festival. Yeah,
he's been a fantastic horse for his owners, the Bronson Racing crew. He's actually done nothing wrong. We went chasing with him pretty early, I think straight away, or maybe he'd one run over hurdles before we went chasing with him after he arrived from France, and he's done very little wrong. We've learned about him from race to race. He dropped back and won a hurdle race this year, and then came back over fences, ran a great race in Navan. He won a big handicap in Listowel, and then we went to Sandown, and things didn't go our way in Sandown, but we learned a lot, and he made a mistake. It was a messy race. The conditions actually went against him on the day as well, but then we kind of put into practice in Leopardstown some of the learnings from Sandown. And he really took his form to a new level. And when you take a wide trip and you give him a very aggressive ride like that, you're never sure if you were flattered on the day, or if you can take the form literally. But then when he backed it up in Leopardstown again at the Dublin Racing Festival, that gives us more confidence to say that he can do it again, and then hopefully he'll try and do it again in a couple of weeks' time.
What do you think it is? Because he went from a kind of a high 140s horse to a low 160s horse in 2 runs. I suppose he's still, while he's had plenty of racing, he's still a fairly young horse. He
is a young horse, and I suppose tactically we changed up things, and he got the headgear cheek pieces on, and he's an aggressive jumper, and he's a horse that loves to run along, and he likes to be given an aggressive ride, and really he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he'll be ridden that way in Cheltenham, and they'll have to come and get him.
And is he another horse for whom good to soft ground or thereabouts is pretty much ideal?
Yeah, he's actually won on slower ground as well, but I think personally I feel he's probably better on a drier surface.
Yeah, and Home by the Lee, like, he's a stalwart, but he seems to be probably in better form than ever this year.
Yeah, he is. I think this will be his 4th run in the Stayers Hurl, and arguably he probably goes back there with as good probably a better chance than he has done in any of the 3 previous seasons. He's off the back of one of his career best efforts. He likes to be fresh, so the plan always was to go straight from Leopardstown to Cheltenham, and we're excited to go there in what looks an open race. Obviously Tihupu is a champion and a great stayer, but we feel like we can give him a run for his money this year.
He left the blinkers off for his seasonal return. they were back on again last time. Do they matter to him, or?
I think they probably do. You know, his first run back when he's a bit fresh, and that we felt we'd leave them off and just get him started, and he really, you know, came back in fine fettle this year. That was a great performance in Navan, and then I thought it was a really good performance in Leopardstown the last day as well, and you know, I think he's coming to Cheltenham probably in the best shape that he's been in his life, and I think that gives him a real life chance.
He really finds for pressure, doesn't he? And
Yeah.
a lot of the top staying hurdlers of the past, that's kind of, they raced a bit behind the bridle like he does.
In his early days, he was, you know, a very straightforward. You know, you could put him anywhere, and as he went chasing then, and he had a good novice chase season, but he lost his confidence jumping a little bit, and then when we came back over hurls, he had a habit to lose concentration in the race, and he had a flat spot, and he still has that habit a little bit. It really cost him dearly in Cheltenham, where he made a bad mistake passing the stand last year, I think it was. But hopefully this year he can maintain his concentration all the way, and if he does, he'll be in the mix.
You've got Galileo Dame. Like, she's another high-class horse off the flat who ran a big race in the spring hurdle last time, finished off her race well.
Yeah, she did. She finished second to Hamish of William Haggis's in the Curragh, her last run on the flat. He's a really high-class horse, and she went hurling, and things didn't go right for her at Leopardstown at Christmas, but we did learn plenty that day, and we changed our tactics in the spring juvenile, and she ran a fantastic race and might have won if she had a slicker jump at the last. And that really sets her up well for Cheltenham. She does have an entry in the Mayor's Novice as well as the Triumph, but I think it's more likely she'd run in the Triumph.
And Busselton is on track for the cross country. What's the thinking behind that running in the cross country?
Yeah, I suppose he's obviously Kerry National winner, and he lost his form a little bit after that, and he's always been a good jumper and a very likeable horse, and a very likeable horse around the yard, and kind of a character, and we schooled him over the banks and hedges a few times, and he seemed to enjoy it. And when we brought him to Cheltenham then for I think he's ran there twice now, and it looks like he's took to the discipline pretty well.
The ground conditions for Busselton?
I think he's versatile enough, to be honest, Donn. He's won on a drier surface and a softer surface. I guess generally speaking, the cross country course is probably the driest of the ground, so I'm sure the conditions will be fine for him. Yeah.
You've got plenty of options for the novices handicap chase. Nürburgring, Jordan's is in there as well.
Yeah, and San Salvador, the three of those are in there, and probably the three of them would run there. And the Nürburgring, just his jumping has just been a little bit patchy to date over fences, but we were keen to get another run into him before Cheltenham, but just with conditions and timing, it just didn't happen for us. But I think he's a horse that is right in the mix. If he takes the things on the day. Jordan's is a more experienced horse and had a real good run in Limerick the last day. He's rated 148, I think, which is a high enough rating, but at the same time, he justifies it given his run behind Imperial Pass last time. So hopefully the two of them are in the mix. And San Salvador steps up a little bit in distance. He's actually a graded winner as well already over fences, and he found the 2 miles at Cheltenham a bit short in the November meeting. So he had a nice little prep run in Dundalk a couple of weeks ago, so he'll go back to Cheltenham up in distance with an each way chance, hopefully too.
Fred went to hurdle as well, plenty of options in there. Put your hands together, beyond your dreams.
Yeah, put your hands together. He had a nice run in Fairy House last time. Probably would like drier ground. Beyond your dreams, then she's versatile conditions wise. She's had the 3 runs, I think, over hurls, and the form of her races has worked out pretty well, so the two of them are in the mix.
And Comfort Zone as well, he's on track.
Comfort Zone will probably run in the Coral Cup. He had a good run in Leopardstown at Christmas, and he'll have an each way chance in what's a hugely competitive handicap.